Hello everyone, let's talk about the propagation and we need to understand the main idea there. That is, if an exception happened in one of the classes when running one of the methods, it can be handled there or it can propagate to a higher level class and eventually to the main. And if it is still not handled in the main, that is when it's going to crash the program, and you will see this error message, this exception message. So let us study this propagation program. Feel free to load it and actually run it and see how it works. So we are creating an instance of exception scope, and from this instance, first of all, we have some delimiting printing messages, and then we call level 1, and the program is ending. Alright, so the output of that would be this code. So there is a lot happening in the level 1. So let's go down. Level 1, delimiting printing statement before and after. Before and actually after would be on the next page. Sorry, page up. So level 1 ending will be there, but before that, first call level 2. I guess we're gonna see this method a little later. Catch arithmetic exception. So something about a level 2 or even deeper, we will see that it's actually deeper, causing arithmetic exception. And the exception message is, and problem get exception. Problem is a variable that is the arithmetic exception instance. Alright, let's drill deeper into level 2. Level 2 is basically calling level 3 and has delimiting statements. And finally, level 3, this is where we try to divide by 0, basically, and that is creating the arithmetic exception. So let us now see if level 3 ending will be printed. So what we see here is that there was no handling of an error that was created, the arithmetic exception error. There was still no handling on level 2 of this error, and there is finally in level 1. So this is where it is handled. And let's see the output and examine it carefully. So level 1, level 2, level 3 beginning. The program is beginning, that is from the main, and then in the class exception scope, level 1 is beginning, then level 2 is beginning. That is, level methods are calling each other in succession. We have the exception message, the call stack trace. This is from the level where we actually handled it. Get message here, and on the next page, call stack trace. So that's what we see there. But notice that we don't see that level 3 is ending, because in level 3 there was an error that was not handled, so the error message propagated to level 2. On level 2 it was not handled, it propagated to level 1. Finally, in level 1 it was handled, the corresponding catch statement was executed, and now we see end of level 1. So the level 2 and level 3 methods, they never get to finish because the error was on this level, the error was not handled, and of course on the deeper level the error was not handled. So that gives you the idea of handling and propagating the errors. Alright, so let us talk about the exception class hierarchy. So all classes are inherited from object class. There is a class throwable, and we have errors and exceptions as child classes there. So I will not say much about the errors. Errors are serious, like catastrophic events that are not supposed to be handled, like virtual machine error. But let us talk more about exceptions. The most ubiquitous kind is runtime exceptions. That is arithmetic, index out of bounds, null pointer exception, input-output exception. So all of them are runtime exceptions. And those don't have to be handled. They are called unchecked exceptions. So you can still run your code without handling this kind of exceptions. All the other kinds need to be handled. So as I was saying, checked exception may be caught or has to be caught or listed in the throws clause of any method, so it can propagate it. And all the other unchecked exceptions don't have to be caught, but it may be a good idea to do that. So runtime exceptions don't have to be caught. Now, in the example when I create an exception, a custom exception, look at a different video, I was playing with extending either runtime exception or just exception. And if I'm extending runtime exception, I don't have to do to say that it throws, that method throws an exception. But if I just use extend an exception, then I do. So please check out that example. And now let us look at input-output exceptions. So basically, stream, we are talking about a stream of data that is either written to a file or written from a file or read from a file, and there are various tools to read from a file and write to a file, of course, for different kinds of data. There is different kinds. So there is an analog of Pico in Java, but so far let us talk about the text files. There is standard output, we used it for printing. There is standard input, we used it for taking input. And there is error stream where you actually see the error messages as you usually see them in the console window. So input-output exceptions, file may not exist, or file exists but the program cannot find it, or it does not contain the kind of data we expect. So input-output exception is actually a checked exception, so we have to check it. Okay, so how about we do a little example here. I want to read from a file, and give me a moment, I need to see where the file is. So this is the address of this file. I can copy this, and I can create a string path equals to, excuse me, it should double the slashes if I do the quotation marks first. Yes. So take a moment, think. So I have to include the full name with extension for the file abc double slash abc dot txt. Alright, so I have my address saved, and I need to create a static, actually I just need to create a method, public void read I think I need to make this and I need constructor. So public void read, that will be first creating a file object, file, f equals to new file, and path. Let me see what's going on here, why it does not. Yes, that's what we need. For some reason it didn't want to recognize it. And then I'm creating a scanner. Scan, so I'm going to read with a scanner. New scanner F. So I'm passing file object to the scanner. Let's make sure it works. Yes. And once I do, yes, immediately it asks me to add exception. Throws what kind of exception do we need to add? Throws file not found exception. Alright. So in case I'm developing this class and someone else is writing some code using my class, this will indicate to the person that there is a file not found exception. It's not just for Java, it is also for developers, so this may happen. Basically, throws an exception means my code may cause this kind of exception. Alright, so now I need to just print the contents, or print the first line, f dot not f scan dot next. So I'm going to read the contents of the file. Let us look again at the file. So this is my file abc, and it contains just the word QWERTY, and there is a there is something to read. Now in the driver I should create a reader instance, r equals to new reader, and what does the reader require? Oh, there is a fixed path, so maybe we don't need it altogether. So let us do this way. And okay, so I'm just hard coding the address here, and I don't need anything else. So new reader is created, and I'm calling reader dot reader dot read, and now it's causing an error because I need to handle this exception. So let me check this. So reader.read. Okay, let's make this static. Public static. Oh, we don't need this. I'm just going to put it right here, and that will be a reader1.read. I don't need to create anything. Reader1.read. We need an exception, that's all we need. I said about the exception, but I did not really do it. So I can say here that it throws the file not found exception, and now it will work. So we can make sure it works. This is not really okay. Let's run it again. Alright, so it read the contents of the file. And I had to write here throws exception because I did not want to handle this exception in the main so far, and I will change that shortly. But first, let me go back to this file and try to cut it away from the folder. Cut and paste. So now my folder is empty. Let's try to rerun this and see what kind of exception comes up. So it does come up, file not found exception, and this is our exception to handle. So instead of throwing it, I'm going to handle it again. Try try this catch file not found exception E, and in that case say file was not there, just something custom, and add to that e.getMessage. Here we go, file was not there, and the message from the system. Alright, so we were able to read a file and handle the error when the file does not exist. You can have a look, and this is, I think, right into a file, some random text, and that's a nice example. And I think we're done with this chapter.